My strength fades, the infected swarm from every shadow boxing me in. Through the chaos, I watch Viper shove me to the dirt just to secure her own spot in the escape vehicle. I watch them pack the supplies and floor the gas, leaving me in the dust. That was my squad. The bitter punchline? I had saved Viper's life just 24 hours before she fed me to the horde. Pain rips through me. A cold, numbing tear. Deep, suffocating regret follows. I should have gone home. I shouldn't have spent the holidays alone just to dodge the matchmaking and the endless nagging from Thane and Bess. If only I could hit reset. My eyes snap open. I am gasping for air, staring at the familiar ceiling of my rented apartment. Outside the window, the distant, carefree sound of kids playing echoes from the street. I scramble to the glass. No infected, no monsters, just the city. A dream. Thank God. Just a nightmare. But the phantom pain of tearing flesh still burns in my veins. It felt too real. I check my phone. Notifications light up the screen. Holiday promos and festive greetings. December 24th, 2023. Christmas Eve. The e-commerce apps are pushing holiday sales. Just as I try to convince myself it was a hallucination, the social feed explodes. A massive celebrity announces a relationship, crashing the servers, flooding the timeline with weeping superfans. A cold dread washes over me. It wasn't a dream. The nightmare was a prologue. The bad news? The apocalypse is real, and it drops in exactly 45 days, right on New Year's Eve. The good news? I have just been reborn. When the world ends, what is your first move? Most say hoard supplies. They forget the absolute bottleneck. Cash. Normal people don't have apocalyptic funding. I immediately max out every credit line and loan app available. 5 years in the corporate grind and scraping all my accounts together gives me a pathetic $150,000. That was my car fund. Ironically, my current ride, a beat-up Wuling, is about to become my best lifeline. My family lives in a densely populated county over in 𝐒𝐻, Sector L. Good policies sparked a boom there recently. In the old world, that was great. In the apocalypse, a high population density is a death sentence. When the grid falls, a frail girl like me, plus Thane and Bess, both pushing 50, won't stand a chance against the panic. The county isn't safe. My rented apartment is a tomb. I need isolation. Somewhere like the remote, forgotten village in Sector L, where Thane grew up. In my past life, the Nova virus rode in on a meteor shower on New Year's Eve. I remember thinking it was a romantic way to ring in the year. Who knew it carried an extinction-level plague? I dial my parents. I tell them to start curing meat, sausages, bacon, provisions that last. To keep the panic out of my voice, I feed them a corporate lie. I say Faye, a coworker, loved the homemade batch I brought in, and the company wants to order a massive shipment for end-of-year gifts. I tell them to partner with the local butcher and get it done fast. The next morning, 44 days until the outbreak, I drive my compact over to a hardware supplier and track down Briggs, a heavy construction foreman. I play it smart. Briggs's crew isn't local, and they weren't planning to take new jobs right before the holidays. But I talk him into driving out to survey the old property. Briggs, take a look. This is the ridge I want retrofitted, I tell him. Thane built this place ground up back in 2018. What's it take to reinforce the foundation and the perimeter? A few years back, building rural cabins was the trend. Thane fought tooth and nail with Bess to build this ridge. We couldn't stop him, so we eventually caved. That's why I rent instead of own. I never imagined this stubborn piece of real estate would become our absolute sanctuary. Jin, let me be straight with you, Briggs says, scratching his head. This ridge sits halfway up a hill. No neighbors. It's a solid build. It doesn't need an overhaul. If I swap in bulletproof glass, weld steel mesh, and raise the walls like you're asking, it's gonna look like a damn bunker. You're killing the natural light. It won't be livable. He is confused, but his comment about light clicks something into place. In my past life, the grid failed on day 7. I need solar setups, backup generators. I have no idea how long the darkness lasts this time. I only survived half a month before. Look, Briggs, I'm not planning to live here. I lie smoothly. You see the landscape. There's a tourist resort down the mountain. Art students come up every summer. I'm building an extreme escape room. It's the new trend. Give me a horror theme. The reinforced glass and steel are just liability waivers. You know how aggressive people get trying to break out? Bless reality TV for the alibi. Ah, I get it. You're playing a different game, Jin. Say no more. Briggs laughs. The bones are good. Bluestone foundation, solid brick. The main ridge doesn't need structural work, just the annex. If you want to farm fish up there, that wall's too thin. And over here, we hammer out the blueprints. Total overhaul of windows and doors. Tear down the storage shed and expand it. A massive dual-chamber water tank goes on top. One side for filtration, one for aquaculture. A retractable steel canopy over the roof for a fallback shelter. Walls fortified, raised, capped with wrought iron. Briggs wants to build the shed on the empty lot to pass as a standalone haunted house. I stand my ground. Reinforce the original footprint. He finally caves. I wire him a $300,000 deposit. Mountain terrain, rushed timeline. It costs a premium. I slide him a pack of smokes, and he swears on a 15-day turnaround. I hand over the keys and steer the wheeling back toward the city. 4 days burned in the mountains. 40 days left. The clock is ticking. The next morning, I grab a quick breakfast downstairs and drive to the office to drop my resignation, FAE, and the floor staff pry. I tell them I'm opening a mini-mart. Done with the corporate grind, a few skeptics offer to help stock shelves on their days off. I tell them to bring it on. Free labor is always welcome. They just want the gossip. But if they show up, I'll put them to work. I'm leaving anyway. If I can drop a few hints to keep them alive, I will. No bad blood here. Back at my place, I run the numbers. Minus the $320,000 spent, I'm sitting on a little over $2.3 million. While checking, a fresh $500,000 hits my account. Bank loans are too slow. I tap into underground lenders. By the time they come collecting, the world will be burning. Survival is the only debt that matters. Cash in hand, I call a property manager and lease a temporary garage. Buying in bulk requires a staging ground. I'll haul it to the ridge piece by piece. Off the radar, garage secured, I hit the wholesale district. Thank God for this city's logistics hub. The mini-mart cover works perfectly. 10 crates of instant noodles, 10 of sausages, 20 of self-heating meals, 10 of canned goods. Salt, sugar, pickled greens, biscuits, snacks. The supplier is grinning ear to ear. He pushes fast-selling inventory. I take it all. Volume buys mean easier delivery. He drops the decimals on the bill. Over $40,000 spent. I slide him the garage address. He promises afternoon delivery. I hit 3 more suppliers, ticking boxes off my manifest. Deposits paid. Delivery slots locked. Back in my room, I crash on the bed. House, handled. Dry goods, incoming. Next week is rice, flour, oil, and water. Then, a cold realization hits me. Weapons. I almost forgot. Firearms are tightly restricted, but when society collapses, who knows what hits the streets? If looters show up armed, an unfortified bunker just makes us cornered prey. I pull up the obscure tactical forums and covertly order a few heavy fangs, machetes, survival blades. I source hunting bows, combat daggers, and modification tools from separate vendors. You can't bulk buy controlled items without triggering an algorithm, so I spread the digital footprint. I grab a few diesel generators online, shipping them to Thane, Bess, and my staging ground. I can't haul this alone. I need Thane 9 days until the outbreak. Morning. I am driving back to the home county. Pulling up to a gas station, the oversight hits me. Fuel. Generators run on diesel. Time to stockpile. I roll into the driveway. My parents think I'm just here for the holiday haul. Dad, Mom. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound insane, I say, dropping my bags. But I've lived it, and you have to trust me. My tone stops them dead. I lay it all out. The meteor shower, the Nova virus, the global collapse, and the chilling memory of the infected tearing me apart while Viper sped away. The horror of the Nova strain paralyzes them first. But when I tell them how Viper used me as bait, Thane's face goes ash white. For the first time in his gentle life, my father looks ready to commit murder. It's in the past, Dad, I say, pulling him back from the edge. This time, we outlive them all. I've already retrofitted the ridge. When the grid drops, we lock down up there and wait out the worst of the nova spread. Done. We follow your lead, Thane says, his voice gravel. Where did you get the cash for the ridge? Microloans. The world's ending. Collection agencies won't survive. They blink at the blatant fraud, but there's no lecture. Instead, they slap their IDs on the table to max out their own credit limits. The war chest grows. With them in the game, the logistics accelerate. Bess is a mastermind with provisions. She drafts a master manifest and anticipates grid failures, procuring coal stoves and 2 trucks of smokeless briquettes. Experience speaks volumes. The next day, Thane heads to the mountain. He knows the rural logistics better than I ever will. When I mentioned the solar grid, he just nodded and packed a bag. I'll handle the fortress, he said. You two focus on the supplies. Backed by them, I return to the city. I contact the 𝐼RZone fisheries and secure a massive shipment of dried seafood, routing it to Bess's address. I sweep the pharmacies across 2 cities, keeping my buys fragmented. Bandages, iodine, antibiotics, vitamins. It's the holiday season. Bulk buying flies under the radar. Half a month vanishes. Faye visits my mini-mart staging garage. With the extra units I rented, she doesn't see the true scale of the hoard. When Faye leaves, I hand her some cured bacon and tell her, point blank, to stock up. Still rattled by the pandemic a couple of years back, she takes the advice. I hope she makes it to the safe zones 5 days until 0 hour, Thane calls. The ridge is locked in. Time to move the payload. I hang up and sprint downstairs. My beat-up wooling truck is weighed down with weeks of stockpiled diesel and a dozen tactical blades hidden in the chassis. A traffic stop right now would be disastrous. White-knuckling the wheel, I drive toward the sanctuary. The ridge sits midway up the mountain. The sun is setting as I pull up. Old Ned, from the base of the trail, hollers at me. Jin, when's opening day? Next year, Ned. You better come by, I yell back. He waves me off. As I drive up, I catch him muttering about haunted nonsense and kids not working real jobs. He bought the cover. Cresting the hill, I finally see why the old man was so dismissive. The execution is flawless. The exterior looks decimated. The walls are stained to mimic decades of acid rain and rot. The persimmon trees by the gates have been hacked down, branches scattered like dead bones. The towering iron spikes capping the walls, which I wanted painted wood brown, are treated with a heavy, corrosive faux rust. Mangled, unidentifiable bird carcasses hang from the wire. It looks exactly like an abandoned slaughterhouse. Thane cracks the heavy steel door when he hears the engine. Inside, the illusion shatters. The perimeter is rigged with a high-voltage grid. Every iron bar is live. If pushed, this is an electrified kill box. No one's getting over. The structure itself is heavily reinforced. Dad, where do I drop the diesel? Follow me. He leads me to the expanded storage shed, moves a heavy rack, and hauls open a secondary reinforced hatch. Holy shit. Dad, did you hollow out the mountain? We are standing in a massive subterranean crypt. I didn't even know we had a basement. This is the old crypt your grandfather used, Thane says, his voice echoing. Back in the Resistance days, they used these to stash munitions and supplies. Over the decades, people moved to the cities and filled them in. When I built the ridge, I thought it'd make a good root cellar. Didn't think it would be our bunker. Looking at this 100 square meter reinforced cavern, I realize if we die in here, we deserve it. I'll stash the fuel and generators here, I say. The engines run loud. You and Mom need to rig acoustic foam along the walls so the noise doesn't bleed out. Thane sparks a cigarette. He looks completely in his element. We tour the living quarters. 3 reinforced floors, 150 square meters each, all sitting above the deep cellar. The layout is tactical. The cellar links directly to the kitchen. The storage shed has a concealed breech door right into the living room. Best of all, Thane overhauled the plumbing. Up here, it's usually septic tanks. I was about to buy pallets of cat litter, But my dad engineered a closed-loop waste system. Solar arrays go up tomorrow. Thane points out the window. I built the mounts on the roof and along the south-facing blind spots. Grid goes down. We don't blink. I've got 10 deep-cycle battery banks. Once they're wired, I'm doing another diesel run. Who knows how long this hell is going to last? He exhales a cloud of smoke, his eyes sharp. Tomorrow, we rent a heavy freighter. We mix the supplies with construction debris, smoke and mirrors. Trust no one. My gruesome death in the past life killed any naive trust my father had in humanity. Understood. I'm heading back tomorrow to grab the cured meat anyway. You and Mom oversee the solar installation. Once the powers live, we haul the deep freezers and water reserves. Take your time with the soundproofing. I'll handle the heavy lifting. 14 days until the outbreak. Early morning. I drive the newly rented truck out to the countryside to secure the cured meat. Over 1,000 kilos of bacon and smoked sausages. I clear the remaining balance and throw in an extra 50 kilos of smoked ribs. The owner tosses in a few vacuum-sealed packs of pig ears on the house, telling me to look him up the next time I need a bulk order. From there, I hit the electronics depot. I load up 4 deep freezers and a heavy-duty refrigerator I pre-ordered, along with electric skillets, rice cookers, induction stoves, and a massive set of cookware. I tell the manager they are corporate year-end gifts. He even slaps red decorative bows on the boxes. It sells the lie perfectly. With less than half the cargo space left, I pack the rest with soundproofing foam. The excuse is simple: setting up a venue for a company event. Nobody asks questions. The moment I get the haul back to the safe house, I start unloading. Good thing Dad bought that mini forklift from the repair crew, or we'd never get this done. Once the truck is empty, I head straight back into the city. 100 cases of purified water go into the back, followed by more soundproofing panels, and every remaining inch is stuffed with instant noodles, high-calorie biscuits, and dry goods. By the time I pull back into the compound, the sky is pitch black. I finally catch my breath and take a good look at the fortress. The solar arrays are fully operational. The filtration system for the water reservoir is online. Since we are perched mid-mountain, the city's water grid never reached us. We used to rely on a natural spring trickling down a nearby ravine, hauling buckets by hand. If the world wasn't ending, give it a few years and this whole ridge would be zoned for tourism, Dad mutters, looking out into the dark. They just built the wilds over the next peak. Traffic used to be dead, but they paved the road last year. Hutch even told me the zoning board was eyeing this sector. Wanted me to partner up on a bed and breakfast. Life's a cruel joke. Leave it alone, Mom cuts in, sharp and practical. This is the only untamed plot left. If it wasn't, we'd have nowhere to hide. Stop mourning what won't happen and help me line these walls with the soundproofing. We need it in the storage room too, so we aren't tiptoeing around our own supplies. She's right. Nostalgia is dead weight. I help them mount the foam panels, then head upstairs to run the inventory. 1,000 kilos of cured meat. Properly stored, it'll outlast a decade. The dry goods, noodles, rice, flour, and cooking oil I've stockpiled from multiple vendors are easily enough to keep a family fed for 10 years. Water is the only tight margin. I'll need another truckload in a few days. The bottled water is strictly for drinking and cooking. For everything else, we have the main reservoir, 15 cubic meters. If that fails, we have the tank system as a backup. The freezers are in place. Tomorrow I clear out the butchers: chicken, duck, pork, beef, mutton, and crates of eggs. I've already secured 5 industrial generators and 10 heavy-duty battery banks. Combined with the solar arrays, the incoming blackout won't touch us. I've slowly hoarded diesel, filling 6 massive 200-liter drums. I'll get more if time permits. Medical supplies are stocked and sorted. Tomorrow's list includes electric fans for when the climate inevitably fractures and the AC fails, along with portable heaters, thermal gear, heavy blankets, and heating pads. The list of what we lack keeps me awake. I pull up my phone. My account is bleeding dry, just $1 million left. The initial renovations only required a deposit, with my parents covering the back end. Since then, I've burned through almost $1.8 million on supplies. Half a month until the collapse. Half a month until the world tears itself apart. It's not enough. My weapons are lacking. I already modified the fang and the compound bow, but against a swarm? I'm gonna run out of arrows fast. I open the browser and order a few hundred more, splitting the purchases across a dozen different surplus stores and shipping them to proxy addresses to avoid flagging the system. 3 days until the outbreak. Dad and I split up. He takes the heavy truck from my garage to run logistics, while Mom and I hunt down digital drives. We buy dozens of them, paying a premium to have the vendors preload them with every movie, survival show, and offline database they can scrape. We buy 10 heavy-duty laptops and a box of micro-surveillance cameras, routing the purchases through different stores. Cash makes the downloads happen fast. We don't stop moving. The next target is a tactical surplus outlet, camping gear, two-way radios, signal receivers, outdoor survival suits. Then, I spot them. Light, tactical armor, bite-resistant. I order 10 sets immediately. The owner tells me they are back-ordered until next year. I drop an extra grand pursuit on the counter. Money talks. He promises delivery in 3 days. Next up, clothes. Summer, winter, sleepwear. 30 sets each. 50 boxes of thermal underwear. Heavy blankets, light blankets, 20 of each, all vacuum sealed flat. I throw in heavy fire extinguishers, 5 fire axes, 10 high-voltage stun batons, and clear out the aisle of sanitary supplies and toilet paper. We pack it all into the vehicle, grab my computers, and make the long drive back to the compound. Dad beats us there, already unloading his haul. Under the cover of darkness, we move everything inside. The basement and the first floor hold the freezers and the water reserves. The entire 3rd floor is a dedicated food vault. The windows are coated in one-way mirror tint, reinforced with iron mesh, and backed by heavy blackout curtains. From the outside, it's a dead, empty structure. Looking at the packed 3rd floor, I know I am looking at our lifeline for the apocalypse. The 2nd floor is the living quarters, 3 bedrooms, 1 for each of us, and a command center for me. Dozens of solar-powered cameras blind spot the entire perimeter, each carrying a 72-hour battery reserve. If the ash blocks the sun, it doesn't matter. The entire grid is double-wired directly into our backup reserves. 24/7 surveillance. Total visibility. The 1st floor takes up the most square footage, holding the bulk of our water, rice, and flour. The heavy smoked meats are split between the ground floor and the crypt. The crypt is our deep earth cellar. It runs freezing cold, and if the perimeter is breached, it serves as our absolute last-stand bunker. Over the next few days, I run back and forth to the city, sweeping for remaining supplies and fuel. My parents stay on the mountain, wiring the cameras and building the camouflage. The steel and cement we bought during the early renovations finally see use. We reinforce the main entrance, welding thick steel plates and steel piping into a double-track door system. The locks aren't standard. They are heavy industrial deadbolts thrown from the inside, backed by 3 steel crossbars. A truck going 60 couldn't ram it down. Outside, the blast door is painted to match the rough stone of the exterior wall. A fake, standard-looking door is painted onto the side wall as a decoy. We pile scrap metal and construction debris haphazardly out front. From a distance, it looks like an abandoned, haunted construction site. In the corner, obscured by brush, we stake a weathered sign, The Maze, opening April 2024. If anyone wanders up here, maybe the illusion of a bankrupt haunted house attraction will keep them moving. There's nothing of value in an unfinished ghost house. 7 days until the outbreak. I'm running my final sweeps. The wholesalers know my face by now. Boss, your bottled water and soda are moving fast. You're restocking every few days, the vendor remarks. It pays the bills, I reply smoothly, loading the last 2 crates of juice into the trunk. Holidays are coming up. Everyone's stocking up for parties. Rather have too much than run dry. Gin, is that you? I thought my eyes were playing tricks. You just have to look at the rust bucket. It's definitely gin. A sharp, grating voice follows. I turn around. A group walks into the aisle. The first to speak is Faye, the closest thing I had to a friend at my old corporate job. Behind her is Quinn, a venomous piece of work I never tolerated, along with a few strangers. This is Quinn's cousin, Slade, and his crew. Faye introduces them, looking deeply uncomfortable. Jin, I thought you were joking about opening a corner store, but here you are loading freight. Quinn sneers, eyes raking over my car. Business must be bleeding out if you're still driving this junk. Good thing Viper is over at the hub. We should have her come down and throw some charity your way. She gestures to a woman walking up from behind them. I do my shopping at the hub, or I just have it delivered. I don't think I can help you out. Viper steps into the light. The blood in my veins runs instantly cold. In my previous life, she was the one. When the horde broke through, she shoved me into the teeth of the infected, just to buy herself 3 seconds to run. And the guy standing next to her? Slade. My treacherous former squad mate, who sold us out. The pieces are falling into the exact same places. Sorry, my little shop doesn't have the floor space for royalty, I say, my voice dead flat. Doors are too narrow. Your egos wouldn't fit through the frame. Who are you calling fat? Quinn snaps, her eyes going wide. If the shoe fits, wear it. Keep the change, boss. I'm out. I ignore Quinn's screeching and slam the trunk shut. Faye, my mom sent that cured meat your family asked for. Hop in. I'll run it over to your place. Oh, right. The meat. Quinn, I'm gonna go grab that. You guys have fun. Bye. Faye doesn't wait for an answer. She practically sprints to my rusted passenger door. I gun the engine, leaving the dead weight in the rearview mirror. Faye, why are you walking around with them? Don't even start, Jin. I mentioned I was coming down here to grab drinks, and Quinn latched on, insisted on dragging her cousin along to set us up. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Who wants to date her creepy cousin? Faye shudders, rubbing her arms. Keep your distance from them, Faye. They're bad news. That Viper girl and Slade live in my old sector. They're basically glued to each other, and they are toxic. That guy is a predator. He lures girls in and ruins them. You need to stay far away. I don't know what their connection is in this timeline, but I remember exactly who they are. I won't lose a second of sleep dragging their names through the mud. God, that makes my skin crawl. I just want to get home and scrub the trash off me. Faye says, looking sick. You can just drop me on the avenue, Jin. I'll catch a cab the rest of the way. Faye knows I just gave her an out from a bad situation, so she tries to let me off the hook as soon as we clear the market district. I actually do have something for you. Come up to my apartment first. I have some gear you're going to need. I bring Faye up to my rental. I hand her a few kilos of vacuum-sealed bacon and a fang. It's a heavy tactical blade, Dad reinforced and ground down to a razor edge. When the grid falls, I hope it keeps her breathing. Jin, why are you giving me a machete? It's cool, but if the cops see this, I'm going to jail. She's a good kid. A sheltered kid. The steel scares her. Faye, listen to me. I saw chatter on the dark webs. There's a viral outbreak overseas. A bad one. Contacts are telling me to lock down early. Take the blade. Consider it an insurance policy. You need to max out your credit cards and buy food. Even if it's just a rumor, consider it stocking up for the holidays. My tone leaves no room for debate. The color drains from Faye's face. I hear you, Jin. I'll buy everything I can. I'm locking my doors until the holiday break is over. Better safe than dead. Exactly. Keep your head down. Go secure your supplies. I'm heading back to the countryside tomorrow. Stay alive out there. I manage a tight smile. I genuinely hope she makes it. I spend the afternoon dropping off unmarked care packages at the post office for distant relatives. As the sun sets, I sit in my empty apartment and hit the forums. I write articles, warning threads, doomsday prep guides. Naturally, nobody buys it. I pivot, framing it as severe lockdown prep for a new respiratory virus. The moderators ban my IP within the hour. Reason: spreading panic and misinformation. The evening broadcast drops the anchor. A once-in-a-lifetime meteor shower will hit on New Year's Eve. Authorities are issuing strict stay-at-home advisories due to quote, atmospheric anomalies. They urge the public not to gather in the streets. The government knows something is wrong, but the harder they push the lockdown, the more the defiant masses will crowd the rooftops to watch the sky burn. I create a burner account and post that the meteor shower carries the Nova virus. I am immediately laughed off the board as a crackpot. Fine. Burn if you want 6 days until the outbreak. The final tactical shipment arrives. I load the remaining water, the heavy gear, and the weapon mods. I leave the sector in my rearview mirror and pull up to the safe house. The arrows need their broadheads welded and sharpened, so Dad's acetylene torch runs hot into the night. Once the new gear is stowed, the first floor is completely bricked out. Only a narrow walkway remains. The third floor and the storage wings are packed to the ceiling. Mom already fired off a warning text to the extended family group chat, citing severe lockdown protocols, and told them she's coming to spend the holidays with me so she doesn't worry. She sent the care packages from my city address, telling everyone to stock their pantries deep for a long, quiet winter, 5 days until the outbreak. The bruiser finally gets delivered. It's a heavy, off-road tactical rig, gutted and retrofitted for a dead world. I paid a specialist to reinforce the chassis and up-armor the cab. I financed it by taking a second mortgage on my parents' old house, dropped $150,000 as a down payment and dumped another $50,000 into the armor plating. The high-altitude surveillance drone I ordered arrives with it. I drive the rig up the mountain under the cover of a moonless night. No headlights. No witnesses. We park it in the blind spot of the courtyard, wrap it in heavy-duty weatherproof tarp, and bury it under dead brush and dry timber. Even from satellite imaging, it just looks like a rotting woodpile. 4 days until the outbreak, morning. We engage the deadbolts on the safe house and take the old car down to the valley for breakfast. During the build phase, we ate at a little diner at the foot of the trail. Dad pays the tab, passes out 2 cartons of premium cigarettes to the locals, and casually asks them to keep an eye on the leftover construction stone at our abandoned site. There's no shortage of rock on the mountain, but it sells the narrative that nobody is living up there. We leave the mountain and drive to the home county. We sit down for a massive seafood feast. We eat like kings, knowing the oceans will soon be dead zones. After lunch, Mom and I hit the high-end boutiques. We buy premium skincare, medical-grade ointments, anything of value. In 4 days, fiat currency will be toilet paper. We burn every last cent we have. When the accounts hit 0, we get back in the car. We wait for nightfall. We drive back to the mountain, ditch the car in a concealed ravine miles from the property, and hike the rest of the way up in total darkness. We slip inside. The heavy steel door slides shut, and the deadbolts slam into place with a final, echoing thud. Unless all hell breaks loose, I am never stepping foot outside again. 3 days until the outbreak. After breakfast, I run a diagnostic on the surveillance grid. The perimeter is dead quiet. The main access road is empty. The valley entrance is clear. Everyone is hunkering down for the holiday break. No hikers, no wanderers. I move on to the physical inventory. Down in the cave system, 10 drums of diesel and 1 drum of high-octane gasoline sit in the dark, heavily sealed. No fumes. The battery banks are at 100%, currently pulling off the valley's main grid. I prepaid $2,000 in utility credits just to keep us drawing municipal power until the moment the lines go dead. The primary water tank is topped off, wrapped in industrial thermal insulation, and wired with a submersible heating coil. The winters up north are brutal, and even with the warming trends, I'm not taking chances on frozen pipes. Back in the storage wing, the tank is humming. Mom has over 30 live fish swimming in the oxygenated hydroponic loop. The water recycles perfectly. They won't die. If we're lucky, they'll breed. After a final gear check, I reconnect to the grid. I've burned my old handle. I'm operating on a fresh account now. The web is deceptively calm, drowning in the artificial cheer of the new year. I scroll through the feeds, then hit the treadmill. I draw the fang, running through my combat drills. Muscle memory? Survival skills, 2 days until the end. A few stragglers wander up the mountain today, but they turn back before the halfway mark. The gravel path is brutal, treacherous for tires, exhausting on foot. Plus, the half-finished concrete skeleton of the maze looming mid-mountain is enough to creep anyone out. Most of these hikers are just locals back for the holidays. One warning from their folks, and they lose their nerve. One day, until the end. New Year's Eve, the night of family reunions. Mom prepares a massive spread. Chicken, duck, fish, roasted meats, fruits, and sweets crowding the table. But the atmosphere is heavy, suffocating. We all know this is our last taste of peace. I'm going to check the air purifiers, Mom says, shattering the silence. The purifiers are rigged to the kitchen exhaust, ensuring no scent of cooking food leaks outside. I've stocked up on heavy-duty deodorizers and planted mint seeds around the perimeter. Come spring, when the sun hits, it will form a natural olfactory shield. Mom returns a moment later. Everything is green. After dinner, we sit in silence, eyes glued to our phones. I've already hardwired our fiber optics and installed a localized signal receiver, so our network speeds are flawless. Since modern messages broadcast GPS coordinates, we've gone completely dark since arriving at the safe house. No posts. At most, a few vague replies in the WeChat groups. There isn't a single whisper of the impending disaster online. The top trending topic is tonight's massive meteor shower. Millions are posting their wishes. None of them realize that this beautiful cosmic display is carrying the Nova virus. It's the ultimate blind spot. 8 p.m. The network should be dominating with holiday specials, but tonight the entire grid is hyper-focused on the sky. 8:30 p.m. A streak of light tears across the atmosphere, followed by another and another. It's surreal, mesmerizing, a beauty that words fail to capture. The shower lasts nearly half an hour. The internet explodes in celebration. I lock down every door in the house and lie down on the bed between Mom and Dad. We know the truth. The apocalypse is here. A hazy, chaotic blur. The night drags on endlessly. Protocol dictates we start rotating watch shifts from tonight onward. No one speaks. We all tell ourselves we need to sleep, that our bodies will fail if we don't, but the adrenaline is burning too hot in our veins. Eyes closed, minds racing. Sleep is a myth. 5 a.m. finally hits. Usually the streets start waking up around now. Breakfast joints rolling up their shutters. More bodies on the streets means a faster infection vector. 5 a.m. The web is still oblivious. Night owls are still partying. Late-night streamers are interacting with their chats, laughing. 5:30 a.m. people start heading out for morning holiday visits. A few influencers are live streaming from the mountain temples, fighting to light the first incense. Solemn shrines, serene statues, the echoing toll of bells broadcasting into millions of homes. 6 a.m. Dawn breaks. Despite the ban, distant firecrackers echo through the dawn air. Help! What the hell is that? A blood-curdling scream shatters the audio feed. Something vaguely human lunges at the streamer. The man shrieks in agony as the camera violently drops and shakes. Suddenly, a grotesque face fills the lens. It's barely recognizable as human. The facial tissue is horribly swollen, eyes bulging unnaturally from their sockets. Every inch of exposed flesh is violently flushed, blistered, and weeping as if boiled alive. The live chat instantly floods with a wall of panicked text. I know right then, the streamer is already gone. Jin, is this the mind loss you talked about? Mom's face goes chalk white. Dad doesn't look much better. Why does it look so different from the movies? It looks like it was boiled in scalding water. I'm not sure, I admit. In my past life, when I finally stepped outside, it had already been 10 days since the initial outbreak. The infected I saw back then had ashy, necrotic skin. Maybe I just hadn't seen enough of them. I've never seen anything like this. It's okay, kid. Let it go. See if there are other videos. While the grid is still up, gathering intel can't hurt. Dad claps a heavy hand on my shoulder and joins the digital hunt. Within minutes, the internet is completely flooded with outbreak footage. Beaches, mountain trails, urban intersections. Screams for help echo everywhere. Almost every upload is backed by the agonizing sounds of people being torn apart and the desperate, guttural roars of the infected. Jin, look. The government just issued a broadcast. Simultaneously, a high-priority alert overrides every major app. Emergency broadcast. Last night's meteor shower is believed to carry an unidentified pathogen, designated the Nova virus. The transmission rate is extreme. Citizens are ordered to shelter in place. Do not go outside. Secure your residences. If an individual is infected, do not let them scratch or bite you. Isolate them immediately and await government extraction. Repeat. Prioritize personal safety and await government extraction. It's exactly like my past life. The authorities react fast, but back then I never lived long enough to see any extraction. The broadcast acts like a shot of adrenaline to the public's rationality. Still, keyboard warriors flood the comment sections, spewing toxic entitlement, acting as if rescue is their God-given right. There are always the clueless ones. They'll be the first to end up as feed. If it's too much, look away, Jin. Your mother and I will monitor the feeds. Go rest. He's right. Go lie down. Their voices pull me out of a dark, violent spiral. I snap back to reality, a cold sweat slicking my spine. Why was I just thinking about using those commenters as bait? In the past, I would have just muttered a curse and scrolled past. But just now, a genuine, cold-blooded urge to see them dead crossed my mind. Has this ruined world already infected my mind? No, I can't let it. I can't let myself think like that. You can't afford to be soft in the apocalypse. Mercy gets you killed. But you can't just unleash pure malice either. Otherwise, you're no different from the monsters outside. Keep monitoring the feeds, but keep an eye on our external cameras too. Watch for anyone coming up the mountain. My eyes are burning. I'm going to rest for a bit. I throw out an excuse and head down to the first floor to splash water on my face. I look in the mirror. My complexion is pale, exhausted. What did I look like in my past life? I can't even remember. Makes sense. Back then, every waking second was consumed by starvation and terror. Who had time to look in a mirror? I shake my head. No point dwelling on it. I don't have the power to stop the end of the world. A frail video editor isn't going to save humanity. As my mind wanders, muscle memory takes over, and I open the blog's community chat. They're doing a head count. I casually mark myself as absent. Almost instantly, Sly initiates a WeChat video call. HMPH. Voice calls aren't good enough for you? Day 1 of the apocalypse and he's already probing. Sly is nothing if not a cunning opportunist. I reject the video request and type in the group, I'm out of town, at my hometown. The house is empty. Then, I leave the group entirely. I have no interest in watching them tear each other apart. I'm legitimately not there. They can believe it or not. As for Sly's angle, he knows I was prepping to open a supermarket. He's eyeing my supplies. Let him try to breach my old door. If he finds even a single packet of instant noodles, I'll concede defeat. Let the dogs eat the dogs. After dropping out of the community grid, I check the family group. My relatives have all checked in safe. That's out of my hands now. I replied to a few texts from friends. I'd sent them plenty of premium food baskets for the holidays. Hopefully, it buys them a few extra days. If they can hold out until the military rolls in, they might make it. Because of the new year, most households have a surplus of food, especially out in the rural areas. Holding out for a while shouldn't be an issue. The real meat grinder will be the cities. Convenience culture means no one stockpiles. In my past life, I survived for 10 days on pure junk food. I watched too many people leave their apartments scavenging for scraps, never to return. By day 7 of my past life, the food riots started. The number of scavengers spiked. Consequently, the infected numbers swelled exponentially. Eventually, normal people didn't even make it out of the block before joining the horde. I'd never seen the city streets so packed with bodies. Pop, pop, pop. Dad, firecrackers. Who's setting off firecrackers now? I sprint to the second floor. The sound is distant, but the infected are hypersensitive to noise. If they draw a horde up the mountain, we're dead. I don't know. Nothing on the cameras. Dad's expression is grim. He heard it too. Lock the windows down. I'm heading up to the attic. Careful, Jin. The attic is cramped, originally built just for roof access, but now it serves as our tactical overwatch. We have a high-powered telescope rigged up here. When the drones are grounded, this is our eye in the sky. Given our elevation and the dense orchards around us, the scope's line of sight is somewhat compromised. I mount it and scan the base of the mountain. Faint white smoke drifts into the sky. I adjust the focal length. It's the lot. the residential cluster at the foot of the hill. What are they doing? Trying to scare away evil spirits with fireworks? If gunpowder cured the virus, we wouldn't need a vaccine. My mind races. Suddenly, a figure stumbles into view down at the lot. The silhouette is completely wrong. Damn it, out in the middle of nowhere and they're already here? I meticulously adjust the optics. It's an infected, a young woman, judging by the torn clothes. Right then, two people rush out, desperately trying to pull the infected girl back inside. A frantic, violent struggle ensues. Moments later, the two bodies on the ground stop moving. Then, they slowly pull themselves back up. Infected takes less than 3 minutes from the bite to full reanimation. The Nova strain is terrifyingly fast. The tree line is obstructing my view. I need aerial recon. When I bought it, the dealer promised this drone had a 25 to 30 kilometers operational radius. I don't need it to go that far, just a clean sweep over the front of the mountain. Even though there are barely 30 households down there, we can't have a blind spot. I pull out the camo-painted unit. Drone 1, you're up. I deploy it silently. I pilot it through the canopy, swinging wide around the back of the mountain to approach the lot from the front. A deceptive vector. I slowly kill the altitude. The live feed cuts through the morning haze. The primary infected looks exactly like the ones in the viral videos. Swollen, severely blistered skin. A Gen 1 variant. The two victims she bit, however, look different. They've turned into General 2s, the same kind I saw in my past life. Their skin is an ashy, necrotic gray, completely drained of life. Suddenly, a few chickens wander across the dirt road. The rooster leading them lets out an aggressive crow. The Gen 1 infected instantly lunges, taking a bite out of it. The rest of the flock scatters in terror. The rooster twitches, then goes perfectly still, tossed aside by the infected. 3 minutes. 5. 10. The bird just lies there in the dirt. It doesn't reanimate. Does the Nova virus not cross the species barrier? Or is it just poultry? I drop the drone a few meters lower to get a macro shot. Suddenly, a massive, horrifying face fills the monitor. Jesus! I nearly drop the controller, but my reflexes kick in, instantly throwing the throttle into a steep, evasive climb. Drone 1 survives. Almost lost my eye in the sky on its maiden flight. Guttural snarling, the infected lock onto the drone's rotors and start tracking it, dragging their feet toward the camera. Hey, are you guys from the government? Are you here to evacuate us? A man, Kip from down the hill, shoves his head out of a second-story window, screaming at the drone. Absolute idiot. Shouting at the top of his lungs right now is a death sentence. Predictably, the infected snap their attention away from the drone and swarm Kip's house, slamming their bodies against his front door. You're not the rescue team? Get them out of here! Kip shrieks, slamming his window shut. Moron? The infected just pound harder against the wood. Driven by some lingering shred of neighborly obligation, I flick on the drone's external speaker. The sudden burst of audio hooks the horde's attention. I slowly kite them away from the property, leading them out of the village. Once they are far enough from the mountain base, I cut the sound, kill the lights, and stealthily fly the drone back around the rear of the mountain to the safe house. I tried to do a good deed, and it nearly brought a horde to my front door. Every time I think back on today, I'll want to punch myself in the jaw. I recall the drone and head back down to the second floor to debrief. While I was flying recon, Mom and Dad had been scrubbing the net for more footage. The social infrastructure hasn't collapsed yet. The grid is up. Power is flowing. There are thousands of videos, but the sensors are already scrubbing the highly graphic ones. Dad, what's the situation out there? Not great. Someone uploaded footage from Ward B, but it just got pulled. A lot of clips are hitting dead links now. Government scrubbers are trying to control the panic. It's 8 a.m. Most of the late risers haven't even woken up yet, so the true scale of the information hasn't detonated. The state is reacting fast. After the initial shockwave of terror, most of the populace is holding the line, waiting for the promised extraction. It was the same in my past life. Panic, yes, but no total anarchy at first. It wasn't until the days bled together, when the pantry emptied, when the taps ran dry, when the grid finally died, that the reality set in. This wasn't a lockdown. This was an extinction event. Dad, I just pulled drone footage of the infected down the mountain. The primary carrier is a Gen 1, the red, swollen type. Anyone they bite turns into a Gen 2, the gray variant. I pull up the high-res stills I snapped. Is that Dale? He's been turned. And his wife, Lex. God, that's awful. Dad stares at the controller monitor, his hands trembling slightly. Seeing strangers die on a screen is one thing. Seeing your neighbors dead is entirely different. Don't look at it, Dad. We can't bring them back. We just have to survive. It sounds hollow. I don't know how to comfort him. Right. Look, I saw one of them bite a chicken, but the bird didn't mutate. Do you think the virus only targets human DNA? If it doesn't cross over, does that mean we could raise livestock? Harvest eggs? But from where? Building a bunker didn't exactly leave room for a chicken coop. And what would we feed them? We have zero feed. Hard to say. We need to observe. If animals are immune, there's a sliver of hope. This nova wave will eventually burn out. If it jumps species, humanity will be the only thing left. No meat. Kids growing up never knowing what an animal looks like. God help us. Dad is already looking years down the line. The tactical analysis slowly pulls us out of our grief. Mom retreats to the kitchen to prep a meal, needing the distraction. Dad and I dive back into the digital archives. We map out 3 distinct classifications: the blistered, red General 1S, the necrotic, ashy General 2S, and a third variant Dad managed to screenshot before the scrubbers got it. We label it the bloater. The cranium is mutated, swollen to 3 times the size of a normal human head. The skin shares the blistered red of a Gen 1, but the limbs are grotesquely distended, like an overinflated balloon. Disgusting. Unnatural. Dad, where did you pull this image? I can't find it anywhere. That footage from Ward B. It's gone now, but it looked so unnatural I screenshotted it immediately. Looking closely at the monstrosity strapped to a medical gurney in the photo, the lighting suggests it was taken early this morning. Whoever this bloater was, he was rich. I recognized the luxury watch biting into its swollen wrist. My old corporate director wore the exact same piece. Faye, a coworker, once told me it retailed for over $1 million. If the Nova strain rode in on the meteorites, the General 2s are secondary infections caused by the General 1S. That means the red, swollen General 1s are patient zeros. Direct exposure to the space rocks. Dad, do you have Dale on WeChat? A horrifying theory clicks into place. The infected down the mountain this morning. It can't be a coincidence. Yeah, right here. I used to buy walnuts and chestnuts from him. Dad opens the app and pulls up Dale's profile. I scroll to his timeline. The top post. Can't even get a quiet New Year's. The kids are begging to go see the meteor shower. Isn't it better to stay home? Attached is a photo. The angle of the sky in the photo is unobstructed. It was taken from a high altitude, definitely a peak. Dad, is there a prime stargazing spot near here? Yeah, the peak, just over the ridge. It's got an observation deck. Been highly commercialized the last few years. Huge tourist trap for sunrise watchers. My heart hammers against my ribs. Using Dale's profile, I cross-reference and find Lex's WeChat. I pull up her feed. The shower is stunning. Photo attached. Wow, a shooting star landed so close. Wonder if we can find it. Timestamp, 2049. Holy shit, we actually found it. The rock is beautiful. Photo attached. Timestamp, 2:20 a.m. Exhausted. This girl needs her beauty sleep. Timestamp, 3:10 a.m. I scroll past a dozen selfies until I hit the critical piece of intel. Heard there's a meteor shower tonight. We have that famous observation deck right in our backyard. Who's coming with? Link below for hotel discounts at the Peak. The New Year's Eve meteor shower streaks across the sky above the famous The Peak. My hands tremble as I open the booking app, desperately searching for nearby hotels. God, the feed is flooded with stargazing dating promos, complete with sunrise time lapses. They are practically begging people to come. Despair claws at my throat, but a sliver of hope pushes me to dig up Brat's WeChat, Dale's son. Gaming tonight, boys. Attached image. The photo displays a group of teenagers holding up their phones. On the table next to a girl, clearly visible in the frame, sits a meteorite fragment. We are doomed. If my theory holds, the mutation is directly triggered by the meteorites. That room is guaranteed to be a breeding ground for bloaters. I don't fully comprehend the power of this variant yet, but given the infection rate of Zombie Gen 1, a bloater is undoubtedly far more lethal. Is there anyone left alive at that mountain resort? If the entire peak is infected, the sheer number of the undead up there is unimaginable. Human nature often defaults to burying its head in the sand. For the next few days, we do not mention the peak. During daylight, I keep Drone 1 grounded. Only in the dead of night do I quietly deploy it to check on our 2 dead chickens, confirming a crucial detail. The Nova virus does not cross-infect animals. I scout the mountain trails outside the village. Aside from 3 wandering infected, nothing else, living or dead, crosses the path. Day 7 of the apocalypse. Snow falls. It is the first snow of the winter and the first of the new year. In my previous life, the city grid had failed on the 7th day. I cannot recall the exact hour. No one is in the mood to cook today. We force down some self-heating rations and immediately return to scouring the internet for intel. A few days ago, chatter online suggested that the freezing temperatures slow the infected down. If someone needs to scavenge, a snow day is the window. State rescue has not arrived. Public fury boils over, stripping away the fragile rationality that held the internet together days prior. Unhinged curses flood the forums. Some maliciously upload unfiltered footage of the infected tearing into the living, exposing the darkest, most unhinged facets of humanity. Jin, get up to the attic. Movement at the bottom of the mountain. Mom's voice cuts through the walkie-talkie. Fearing the drone might be spotted in the daylight, we have switched to using binoculars to monitor the lower trails. In the attic, I press my eyes to the lenses. Down at the lot, usually a desolate stretch, a dozen men have gathered. They are heavily armed and fully geared. My heart hammers against my ribs. What is their play? Have they spotted our compound? I force my panic down and track their movements. Moments later, 4 vehicles roll out, aggressively tearing away from the mountain. Mom, they're leaving the mountain. Are they out of supplies? It's too close to the holidays for them to run dry this fast. I remember the farms below, pigs, sheep. If nothing else, the region produces walnuts, chestnuts, and persimmons in massive quantities. Just grazing on that could sustain them for weeks. They might be heading to the front mountain, Mom theorizes. Isn't that where Brat went to watch the meteor shower? A few other families had people head up there too. Right. A once-in-a-century celestial event. Had I not known the future, I would have been up there stargazing too. Stepping down from the attic, a heavy silence settles over our family. They probably saw the posts about the snow slowing the infected down, Dad says. If things get ugly, a group that size can defend themselves. They know the terrain. Since locking down the safe house, Dad hasn't smoked a single cigarette. When the stress hits, he pops a hard candy. But watching him roll that single piece of candy around in his mouth for half an hour without biting down, I know he is nowhere near as calm as he sounds. By noon on the 7th day, reports flood in. Their city has gone dark. Others chime in reporting water shutoffs. Social media explodes into absolute chaos. Initially, the official channels attempt to soothe the panic, claiming repairs are underway. But as the public outcry morphs into a roar, the authorities drop one final directive: wait for outpost relief, and go completely radio silent, abandoning the desperate pleas of the masses. Right then, a specific post catches my eye. The author claims military rescue has arrived. Attached is a photo. It is my camo-painted drone one. I recognize the backdrop instantly. It's the lot right at the base of our mountain. The resolution is crisp. The drone had lured the infected out into the open. Whether driven by a need to boast or a desperate attempt to comfort himself, the user updates the thread. A new photo shows the armed group driving out this morning. He claims the military is here, that they are heading out to bring the stranded home. Coordinates: Mount D, He includes pictures, text, and most dangerously, boasts that the sector still has running water and electricity. As the comments skyrocket, the idiot uploads a picture of his powered-on desktop and running tap water to prove his point. Intoxicated by the sudden viral attention, his claims escalate into pure delusion, stopping just short of declaring that the military has built an outpost in his backyard. Do not believe him. He is lying. I am at Mount D right now, trapped in a hotel. The area is overrun with the infected. There is no rescue. Do not come here. It is a suicide mission. I hide my IP and aggressively copy-paste the warning under his thread. Thank God our entire region falls under the Mount D tag. Only locals can distinguish between the front and back mountain sectors. As my warnings flood the screen, the idiot seems to grasp the sheer gravity of his mistake. The posts vanish. He plays dead. I don't know how many bought my warning or how many bought his fantasy. Right now, I just want to put a bullet in him. The regret of using Drone 1 to lure the infected away and inadvertently saving his life burns in my chest. I should have let him die. When humanity is pushed to the brink, even the faintest glimmer of hope is magnified into a beacon. If the Nova virus fades quickly, fine. But if this drags out, the escalating despair will drive whoever saw that post to risk everything for that phantom outpost. They won't let it go. In my past life, I witnessed what madness people are capable of when survival is on the line. When that time comes, how long can this safe house remain hidden? In a blink, we reach the 10th day of the apocalypse. The snow finally ceases after 3 relentless days. The sun breaks through. If the sun hadn't shown up, my exterior surveillance cameras would have died. I haven't seen a blizzard this severe in years. Those men who drove out 3 days ago have not returned. Trapped in the snow or dead. I don't know which. Before dawn, Dad cracks the door to measure the snowpack. 75 centimeters. At this depth, driving is impossible, let alone navigating a mountain incline. There is an old saying, "It isn't cold when it snows, but it freezes when it thaws." Dad notes that we won't have to worry about intruders for at least a week. If this winter stays brutal, we are secure until the thaw. The melting snow during the day will freeze into solid ice at night. Attempting the mountain path in those conditions is a death sentence. I remember the bitter, biting cold of my past life just before I died. It looks like I can finally get a good night's sleep. Life inside the bunker is monotonous. Thankfully, I hoarded terabytes of entertainment, and I have my family. If I were doing this alone, I would have lost my mind long before the dead got to me. Eat some fruit. Look at you two. You look dehydrated. The older batch is starting to shrivel. Eat it before it goes bad. Dinner tonight is a massive bowl of fruit Mom sliced up. Apples, pineapples, and pomelos can hold out. We have crates stashed downstairs, but the oranges, dragon fruit, and bananas are on borrowed time. We eat them now because soon they will be gone forever. Mom, Dad, I'm taking Drone 1 out for a sweep later, pushing the perimeter further tonight. If it's clear, we turn in early. No night watch required. Swallowing the last piece of fruit, I climb up to the attic out of pure muscle memory, scan the lower trails, then drop down to the second floor to initiate the drone patrol. I loop around the back of the mountain, pushing the drone's range. I refuse to scout the front mountain. Whether I am spotted by desperate survivors or accidentally agitate the infected, neither outcome benefits me. After the incident with Drone 1, the lesson is carved into my skull. Blind mercy without situational awareness is lethal. You never know if you are saving a predator or a fool. A predator will take your life. A fool will take your entire family's. The freezing air is taking a toll. I can watch the drone's battery gauge plummet. 2 clear patrols later, I recall it. I plug it in and dive under the covers, the electric blanket radiating absolute comfort. I let out a breath. This is what living feels like. Before sleeping, I scroll through my feeds. The internet is still a war zone of rage and despair. Suddenly, a new official broadcast overrides the noise. The meteorites are carriers of the Nova virus. Avoid all physical contact. Furthermore, they emit an unidentified radiation dubbed RADS. 𝐸𝐴DS is an existential threat far surpassing Nova. Citizens are ordered to maintain distance, ration supplies, and wait indoors for outpost extraction. I bolt upright in bed. The pieces click together. If Zombie Gen 1 were the victims of the initial Nova strain, then the bloaters are the result of Nova fusing with 𝐸ADS exposure. My mind flashes back to that stargazing selfie. Every single smiling face in that hotel room is a bloater now. Sleep evaporates. I dive into a frantic search for any archived videos or lore regarding the meteorites. I find plenty. In the footage, people are grinning ear to ear, acting as if the cosmos just handed them a winning lottery ticket. The captions are full of hope. Groups huddle around the glowing rocks, snapping pictures. The stones cast a harsh, unnatural glow against their faces. To them, they are holding stars. To me, I see the Reaper standing right behind them, his scythe already resting against their throats. The footage spans the globe, from the frozen north to the tropical south. I even stumble upon a clip of a foreigner hoisting a rock above his head, screaming, "Lucky!" This is a global extinction event, dropping out of the sky before anyone could brace for impact. Clicking through, I hit a chaotic stream. A man is sprinting, the camera shaking wildly, screaming into the mic. I piece together his panicked English. Experiment failed. Nova leak. Fusion. Enhanced vitality. Run. Mutation imminent. Before I can process the rest, the feed cuts to black. Stream ended. I dig into his profile. Mostly mundane couple photos, until I hit his oldest pinned post. He is a doc at somewhere called the lab. Coordinates. The US. The doc stands in a pristine white coat, flashing a brilliant smile, but looking at it makes my blood run cold. Cross-referencing his final broadcast, the reality is damning. They were engineering a bioweapon, and the worst-case scenario happened. Nova. A leak, a fusion, a mutation. The engineered pathogen merged with the primordial Nova strain. The infected are evolving. The revelation hits like a physical blow. We barely survived the baseline Nova, and now it's mutating? What's next? Will they develop supernatural abilities like in the comic books? Will they fly? Whatever it is, it's a nightmare. Their government knew exactly what they were playing with. Another sleepless night. Day 15 of the apocalypse, the exact day my heart stopped beating in my previous life. But in this timeline, I am buried in a heated bed, listening to my mother scold me while she spoon-feeds me hot porridge. I fell sick. The relentless anxiety, the sleepless nights, my cycle, and the biting chill in the room, a perfect storm that finally broke my immune system. This morning, Mom found me burning up, delirious with a fever. She practically lost her mind. Take your meds and sleep. It's the end of the world. What are you stressing over? The worst that happens is we die. Panic won't change a damn thing. Seeing me like this, Mom abandons any pretense of saving power. She blasts the space heater and the oil radiator at maximum output. We still have grid power. We might as well burn it. Our sheer isolation might be the only reason the grid and network haven't flatlined yet. The illness is terrifying, but it snaps something loose in my head. The crushing, suffocating paranoia recedes. We have food. We are alive right now. That is enough. Sickness hits like a collapsing mountain and fades like pulling a thread. It takes me over half a month to fully recover. On day 23 of the apocalypse, the grid finally dies. I am in the middle of a movie. The space heater whines and dies. The lights snap off. The silence is deafening. Dad heads down to kick on the backup generator. To conserve fuel and battery, my parents move into my room for the night. Since I am still recovering, my heater stays on. Dad assures me our reserves are deep. I don't need to freeze. No power means the telecommunication cables are dead. Thankfully, the satellite receiver I installed keeps us tethered to the net. Inside the bunker, our routine barely shifts. More snow falls in the following weeks. The mountain road remains a treacherous sheet of ice. Nobody dares the ascent, and the valley below stays dormant, Occasionally, a figure scuttles out to scavenge before darting back into hiding. Plumes of white smoke rise daily from the village. They are still cooking. Thanks to our absolute geographical isolation, we see no rescue teams, but we also see no infected. Early on, choppers would cut across the gray sky, looping a recorded broadcast. The government has not abandoned you. Military outposts have been established. Do not lose hope. Await extraction. They flew over exactly twice. Then, the skies went dead. Maybe we are too remote. Maybe this state has the will, but no longer the means. If forced to guess, I'd bet on the latter. The convoy that drove out weeks ago never returned. No one else has attempted to leave. The able-bodied men are likely gone. The survivors down there are mostly women, the elderly, and children. Even if they wanted to run, they couldn't. Mom, Dad, are we really doing this? Yes. Run the sequence. Dad takes a rare drag from a cigarette. Jin, send it at midnight. Actually, make it 3 a.m. Deep sleep cycle. No one will spot the drone. Mom systematically straps the payload to drone 1. Formula milk. Basic antibiotics. After the fiasco with the internet troll, I had sworn off playing savior to the valley. But this morning, Dad was on the binoculars. He watched May, the elderly woman who used to run the local diner, stumble out into the freezing snow. She frantically pounded on her neighbors' doors. When no one answered, she carried little Todd out, dropped to her knees in the snow, and begged. The doors remained shut. Dad watched in silence, burning through a cigarette. We convened. The verdict: we drop her milk and meds. If we execute this flawlessly, it stays ghost, Dad reasoned. Nobody is risking loud noises right now. And if she somehow traces it back to us, we can handle her. Consider it settling the tab for the meals she cooked for us back then. I saw the conflict in his eyes, but his humanity overruled his tactical coldness. It's an infant. Any parent would crack. Copy that. We go dark and drop. At 3 a.m., I pilot drone 1 out, banking wide around the far side of the mountain to obscure our launch point. Hovering over May's courtyard, I release the payload. The snowpack is deep. The thud is minimal. I pull back to a high-altitude overwatch and record the drop zone. Maybe the baby kept her awake. May steps out almost immediately and spots the parcel. Through the feed, I watch her freeze in disbelief. She rips it open, then drops to her knees, bowing repeatedly to the empty sky before clutching the goods and fleeing inside. The bunker is dead silent. We execute 1 more airdrop a week later and then sever the connection. A handful of rice buys a benefactor. A sack of rice buys an enemy. Exposing our logistics is a fatal risk. In this new world, you survive on your own. 2 more months bleed away. A freezing spring rain washes the last of the snow away. Winter is dead. Spring is supposed to be the season of rebirth, but we know the truth. The real nightmare is just waking up. 4 months into the apocalypse, green shoots pierce the mountain soil. The temperature rises. With the snow gone, we reinstate the watch shifts. This morning, Mom breaks a smile. The fish we are breeding have spawned. We will have fry in 2 months. A rare tactical victory. But as the earth thaws, so do the dead. Whether it's the ambient heat or the Nova virus mutating further, their mobility has drastically spiked. Grid failures are widespread, but not absolute. Terrifying new footage still leaks online. Initially, their baseline speed was a sluggish walk. Now, they hit a dead jog. Some are even faster. Worse, lactic acid doesn't exist for them. In a battle of endurance, humanity loses every time. As the freeze lifts, the survivors in the valley begin to emerge. Our isolation pays off. After those first 3 infected were lured away, the immediate zone has remained entirely clean. Over a few days of reconnaissance, I get a hard head count. 38 survivors, 12 are children, including the infant. The rest are elderly. And Pawn, the sole able-bodied man left in the valley. Footprints start appearing on the lower mountain trail. They are foraging for firewood. So far, they haven't pushed high enough to spot our fortified walls. Days later, they begin planting crops in the valley. You can't eat canned goods forever. We mirror their strategy, utilizing a small, concealed plot behind the bunker. It was engineered into the blueprints. Invisible unless you breach the perimeter. Canned food is for the long haul. Fresh greens keep the scurvy away. Mom and Dad sow leeks, baby greens, and radishes. Fast yield, high utility. The radish leaves are edible too. In the wasteland, zero waste is the law. We are in the dirt, planting the last row, when a variable breaches the perimeter. Mom, Dad, we have a situation. A vehicle just breached the village. Infected in pursuit. I drop the spade and glue my eyes to the binoculars. A battered car tears into the valley, a pack of infected sprinting violently behind it. The driver guns the engine, creating a gap. The infected lose the visual and begin wandering aimlessly. The car slams the brakes at the lot, right at the base of our mountain. Hold the line. They might not push up the mountain, Dad says, gripping my shoulder. And if they do, our walls are 10 meters of reinforced concrete. They can ram it with the car. It won't even scratch the paint. Before the words fully settle, the vehicle engine roars. They are taking the mountain road. The paved concrete ends halfway up. If they intend to summit, they will inevitably spot the safe house. Worst case scenario confirmed. The car hits the end of the pavement, pauses, then forces its way up a rugged dirt incline. The engine cuts out right in front of our reinforced gates. They are organized. 4 men step out, sweeping the perimeter. Once cleared, 2 women emerge. They inspect the towering walls, then locate the entrance. They immediately spot the fake door. It doesn't fool them for a second. Hello, is anyone inside? We are survivors from Sector L. We come in peace. Silence from our end. Realizing diplomacy is dead, the aggression spikes. They hammer the steel plates. A man pulls an axe and begins viciously hacking at the heavy chains. Sparks fly, but the bunker's entrance remains unyielding. Stop hacking. If you ruin the locking mechanism, we can't secure it once we move in. My dad said the owner built this place like a literal bunker. He toured it when they installed the solar arrays, said we should visit it someday. Didn't think the apocalypse would hand us the keys. Listening to the audio feed, Dad and I exchange a cold look. These intruders are not leaving alive. Dad, you said the contractors were all out of state. How did they find us so fast? There must have been a local embedded in the crew. I didn't know. The intruders switch tactics. They pull grappling hooks and heavy rope from the trunk. After several loud metallic clangs, the hooks catch the top of the wall. But they aren't operators. The sheer 10-meter vertical is too much. They attempt a human ladder but fall drastically short. Exhausted and frustrated, the squad retreats back to the valley. Night falls. We review the surveillance logs. They've already claimed this compound as their property in their minds. It's just a matter of how they breach it tomorrow. I can use Drone 1 to kite the horde up here, I suggest, my voice flat. The infected can't scale the walls. They are a much safer perimeter defense than heavily armed scavengers. Negative. There are civilians in the valley. We lose control of the horde. The valley gets wiped out. Dad shuts it down instantly. But listen to your mother, Jin. Do not deploy the biological asset unless it is an absolute last resort. We cannot control them. Mom rests a trembling hand on mine. If they force the breach, we have the blades. We have the heavy crossbows. If they come over that wall, your father and I will not hesitate. Mom sends me to bed. I don't know what she and Dad discuss in the dark. At first light, the squad returns. This time, they've brought Pawn, the only muscular local left in the valley. Their gear has upgraded. A massive extension ladder. It looks to be about 5 or 6 meters long. Set against the wall, it drastically cuts the vertical distance. The grappling hook flies again. Now it's a manageable climb. They send their strongest guy first. Up the ladder, grab the rope, and haul. 3 meters. 2 meters. 1. He crests the top of the wall. The crew below cheers. On the feed, I watch him swing his legs over, securing the rope to rappel down into our courtyard. 1 meter. 2. 3. Thwip. 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 3 heavy crossbow bolts launch simultaneously. A sharp grunt, followed by a sickening thud on the concrete below. Bolt! Bolt! Talk to me! Panic bleeds into the voice outside the gate. It's on you two now. Let's hope this breaks their morale. I grip my loaded crossbow, eyes locked on the monitor. If they don't break, it's a firefight. I'm going up. Stabilize the ladder. Another man ascends. He is fast. Before I can adjust my aim, he is peering over the top. Twitch, what's the visual? Keep it down. The courtyard is full of infected. Bolt is dead. Move, move, move. Faster than he climbed up, Twitch slides down. The entire squad scatters, abandoning the perimeter. Mom, Dad, they're falling back. Good. That's good. Mom stumbles into the living room, her hands shaking so violently the zombie camouflage makeup she applied is smudged with cold sweat. It is their first confirmed kill. They were normal, law-abiding people. Murder was an abstract concept, but the apocalypse turns ordinary people into executioners. If he didn't die, we would have. He breached a fortified residence. He signed his own death warrant. Even with the memories of a past life, the act of taking a human life rattles me. My grip on the crossbow is still white-knuckled. Dad, the body. We can't let it rot in the courtyard. Right. How do we extract it? Drone 1 tonight? Dad, the drone can't lift a dead weight of 180 pounds. Right. Of course. Dad isn't as cold as he pretends to be. We spend the daylight hours in heavy silence. Under the cover of darkness, we quietly unlock the gates, load the corpse onto a handcart, and dump it down a steep ravine on the far side of the mountain. A grim depression hangs over the bunker for days. Taking a life takes a toll. That is, until the squad returns. And this time, any lingering remorse in my system is vaporized, replaced by a cold, clinical urge to kill them all. After taking the casualty, they had retreated to the valley. I assumed they'd keep their heads down, but my binoculars caught them moving between the village houses. Consolidating power. By noon today, they are back at our gates. And what they brought with them paralyzes my entire family. They brought little Tot, May's infant. They aren't holding him. They drag him out of the trunk like a piece of luggage. What the hell are they doing? How did they get the baby? He isn't even weaned. I risked the drone to drop milk for him. They erect a taller ladder. This time, they easily secure the top of the wall. They've been modifying their gear in the valley. They haven't given up on the bunker. Hex, is the fuel prepped? Prepped. Enough to incinerate every infected in that courtyard. They hoist heavy jerry cans of gasoline to the top of the wall. Then, they haul little Tot up. They're using the baby as live bait. Dad's face drains of color. Before we can react, they commit an unspeakable act of cruelty against the infant, dropping his fragile body over the wall. The poor child barely registers a cry before the impact silences him forever. A violent, blinding rage erupts in my chest. How can anything human be this depraved? Without a microsecond of hesitation, I slam my hand onto the high-voltage breaker. A deafening crack rips through the air. Arcs of blue electricity surge across the reinforced steel perimeter. The men on the wall convulse violently before plummeting like stones. 2 heavy thuds echo through the courtyard. Nothing else. 6 left. Twitch, report. Twitch, stop messing around. The squad on the ground has 0 visibility. High voltage is invisible and silent until it connects. Aside from the sudden falls, they have no idea what they are facing. Damn it, get up there and confirm his status. No way, man. I'm not going up there. I swear to God. Get up the damn ladder, or I put a bullet in you right now. Think about what happened to the rest of your village. Under lethal threat, Pon slowly, terrifiedly scales the ladder. He is paranoid. At the top, he taps the stone face, then gingerly hovers his hand near the iron grate. Detecting nothing, he carefully shifts his weight and peers over the edge. Status? Twitch fell. He's not moving. What about the infected? The infected are. I slam the breaker again. Burn, you piece of trash. You sold out your own village. 5 left. Grim, what the hell is happening? Is the wall covered in black ice? Why are they dropping? The leader is losing his mind on the ground, but he isn't stupid enough to climb. Screw this. Bring up the chainsaw. I don't care what it takes. We are cutting through the main gate. They abandon the vertical assault and focus on the reinforced door. A heavy-duty forestry chainsaw roars to life. Impressive they still have fuel and battery for it. Come on, let's see what you've got. The second the steel teeth bite into my gate, I route the main power grid directly into the metal frame. A horrific scream tears through the valley. It's electrified. There are survivors inside. His realization is met with the sharp twip of heavy crossbow bolts. Before I even engaged the gate current, Mom and Dad had taken firing positions atop the secondary defensive parapet, electrocution and armor-piercing bolts. An overwhelming ambush. Zero mercy for animals. Half a target left. Clank. Hiss. The heavy gates slowly grind open. My family steps out, fully encased in tactical riot gear. The electrified gate did its job. 3 bodies lay smoking on the threshold. Whether they are breathing or not is irrelevant. We put a blade through their skulls just to be clinically certain. Please? Please don't kill me. I'm just a girl. They forced me to do it. 4 hit the gate. 3 fried. The sole survivor is Hex. 2 crossbow bolts pin her legs to the dirt. She isn't going anywhere. Hex, right? You claim they forced you, but from the camera feed, you were smiling when you dragged that infant out of the trunk. Didn't look like coercion to me. Mom and Dad execute a perfect interrogation protocol. Dad keeps the pressure on her visually, while Mom steps in and violently rips one of the bolts from her thigh. Not out of mercy. We just aren't wasting the ammunition. AGH! Dark crimson stains the dirt beneath her leg. Wrap it yourself, I say, tossing a roll of gauze at her. I ask, you answer. You tell the truth, you live. You lie, you join your squad in the dirt. I step forward and press cold steel directly beneath her chin. Where is your staging area? What is the tactical situation outside this valley? We really are from Sector L. We were on a tourist trip, got trapped in the hotel when it dropped. We only broke out a few days ago. Hex stammers, frantically wrapping her bleeding leg with shaking hands. I'm telling the truth. Why won't you let me go? Because your heart rate says you are lying. I twist the knife slightly, letting the edge bite. If you play games with me again, the next cut won't be on your leg. Choose your next words carefully. I have direct comms with the Mount D outpost. The signal jammed a few days ago, right when your unit arrived. You expect me to believe that's a coincidence? Start talking. I use the flat of the blade to tilt her head up, letting the cold blood from the steel smear across her pale face. It's a bluff, but the dead-eyed execution of my squad must look terrifying. Hex shatters. She spills everything, hyperventilating. They are from Sector L, but it wasn't just a small tourist group. There were over 30 of them. They didn't survive the hotel lockdown by luck. They survived by violently securing the hotel's food reserves, locking the heavy doors, and throwing anyone else out into the corridors to be eaten. How did you confirm the hotel was secure? And how did you execute the breakout? It was secure. It was a boutique hotel, small. Only a few other guests. We just tossed them out. Then we used the blizzard to scavenge nearby. We had enough supplies to wait it out. Most of the scavengers outside turned into those things. Then we made radio contact with other survivors in the city, almost 100 people. The plan was to group up and break out of the city once the snow melted. A few days ago, the massive convoy rolled out. But we didn't push outward. We pushed inward. My dad knew about this place, the maze. He said it was an impenetrable fortress. We came to take it. Her eyes glaze over, flashing with the memory of absolute slaughter. There were too many of them outside. We couldn't break the perimeter cleanly. Letting the main convoy act as bait was the optimal play. They had the numbers. They drew the horde away. You're missing a variable. 100 people running isn't enough to pull an entire city's horde. I strike her across the cheekbone with the heavy pommel of the knife, snapping her out of her psychotic trance. How did we do it? Ha ha ha. I slipped Bluetooth speakers into their supply bags. I wired sirens to the undercarriage of their transports. Once they hit the choke point, I triggered them remotely. Every infected in a 5-mile radius converged on them. Don't look at me like that. I just wanted to survive. I made the right call. You are a rabid dog. I slam the hilt of the knife into her temple. Hex drops, unconscious. I zip-tie her wrists and ankles, then drag her lifeless weight into the back of their vehicle. Dad, help me load the rest of the bodies into the trunk. I'm driving them out of the valley. Wait. The village down below. There is no village. They're all gone. Mom hands me the tablet. Drone 1's thermals confirm it. The 30-plus villagers are eradicated. The squad hadn't been consolidating power these past few days. They had been systematically butchering the locals to secure the valley. Animals. A quick death was too good for them. Mom chokes out, tears of rage in her eyes. Mom, you and Dad head down and bury the villagers. Hand me drone 1. I'm taking this trash out. I won't let them pollute our soil. I slide into the driver's seat. First, I deploy the drone, using it to kite the infected off the main access road. Once the path is clear, I drive the vehicle to the edge of the mountain boundary. Before I exit the vehicle, I slice the zip ties off Hex. Then I take my blade and leave a few deep, bleeding lacerations on the corpses in the back, an undeniable scent of death to attract the horde. I roll down the windows, crack the doors wide open, kill the engine, and walk away. I steer the drone further out, dragging the infected with it. Once they swarm the abandoned vehicle, I pull the drone up and away. Survival isn't a sin, but throwing innocents to the dead to buy another day. That's unforgivable. I'm no saint, but I draw the line at their methods. If you feed others to the horde, you deserve to feel their teeth. It's karma. You don't get to leave this world in one piece. Back in the village, Thane and Bess ask no questions. They only say the villagers deserve to rest. 37 lifeless bodies, laid out across the lot. Thane drives a small excavator up from the foothills, grabbing a drum of diesel from the safe house. He burns through 2 tanks digging the mass grave. Don't blame me for the rough accommodations, Thane mutters, packing the earth down. At least you have each other. Your debts up here are paid. Whatever happens down there in the dark, if you see those bastards, don't hold back. Make them pay. Bess hauls a massive rock to the edge, marking the 37 lives buried below. When the Nova virus finally burns itself out, if anyone comes looking, they'll know where to mourn. We look down at the empty mountain. It's a ghost town now. Just us. We need to barricade the road, I tell them. Not block it entirely. Just obstacles. People can slip through, but the infected can't. Vehicles get stuck. If anyone comes looking for trouble, we'll have the tactical advantage. Done, Thane nods. The apocalypse stripped away the illusion of morality. The living are far more terrifying than the dead. Months blur together. By day, we build barricades. By night, we retreat behind the reinforced walls of the safe house. We farm the lower fields. A grueling, relentless cycle. Summer bleeds into autumn, the mountain burst with wild walnuts. We dry persimmons and hawthorn berries under the harsh sun, harvesting corn and sweet potatoes. Our supplies aren't dwindling, they're multiplying. The manual labor hardens us. I can sprint the incline from the base to the safe house without breaking a sweat. Then, the isolation breaks. It's a mundane, drizzly day. Autumn rain brings a biting chill. We stay inside, watching movies, cracking fresh walnuts. Complacency makes us sloppy. By the time I spot him on the monitors, the stranger is already nearing our perimeter. Mom, Dad, we have company. A fatal oversight. It's raining. We can't activate the electrified fence without risking a short circuit that could kill us all. Luckily, he's alone and on foot. If it comes to a fight, the odds are ours. I gauge our tactical advantage just as he steps up to the door. Thane. Bess's voice catches in her throat. I lock onto the monitor. Yeah, I breathe out. It's a military uniform. It's military. Grime obscures the camo, but the cut is etched into our collective memory. You don't mistake that uniform. Hello? Anyone home? The man calls out. He looks dead into the hidden lens. He knows it's there. I'm with the military. Unit 38. Knocks. He stands at attention, back straight, piercing the camera lens as if looking right through me. Let's go, Thane says, grabbing his gear. Kid doesn't look like a threat. We throw on our hoods and mount the perimeter wall. Knocks. Thane calls down. You here on government orders? Rescue op? Knox delivers a textbook salute before answering. The government has established secure zones for survivors. The military is sweeping cities. Global efforts are focused on a cure. Progress is slow. It's an unknown pathogen, but the state hasn't abandoned you. What about you, Knox? I cut in, eyeing his battered state. He looks like hell, but his eyes burn with that annoying thing called hope. Why are you here? Alone? Jinn! Bess snaps, hitting my arm. Don't mind her, Knox. She lacks a filter. Knox forces a tight smile. It's fine. We deployed because of an SOS ping on the network. This area used to have a garrison, supposed to handle local extraction. Days ago, we intercepted a distress call. The zone had fallen, but we underestimated the sheer volume of the infected. I'm the only one from my squad who made it out. I have to get this intel back to command. I won't let my unit die for nothing. He doesn't cry. But his bloodshot eyes betray the stoic mask. Take this, Knox. Get out of the rain before it kills you. Bess softens, tossing down an umbrella. He catches it in silence, then looks up. The barricade's on the road. Your work? I shouted for hours down below. Is everyone up here? They're gone, Thane replies grimly. Just the three of us left. The rest turned, or ran into monsters worse than the infected. We hold the high ground. Kept us breathing. What's it like out there, Knox? Thane asks, pivoting away from the village's dark history. How did it fall so fast? It wasn't even tourist season. When the outbreak first hit, Knox explains, the memory darkening his face, someone posted a safe status online, pinned to this exact location. Command assumed the local op was successful and diverted resources elsewhere. Half a month ago, Intel caught an SOS and a secured internal distress signal. Both pointed to Mount D. That triggered our drop. But the horde was massive. By the time we arrived, the outpost was gone. That initial safe post must have drawn crowds. More people, more vectors. The mountains boxed them in, creating a pressure cooker. It evolved into the hive. We walked into a meat grinder. If the horde hadn't thinned out recently, none of us would have made it this far. Pain radiates from Knox's face. The realization hits me like a freight train. That safe post, it was Pawn, the parasite I saved. A single careless act that doomed an entire military squad. Too late for regrets now. Breathe, Knox, I say. The infected won't climb up here anytime soon. Head down the mountain, find some cover. This rain isn't letting up. Thane nods. She's right. Call me Knox or whatever, but is there another way out? I have to move. I can't let my team be a wasted sacrifice. If we don't purge the hive, it'll spill over. Listen to me, Thane orders, his voice commanding. Take cover. Rushing gets you killed. There's a hidden trail, but it's a death trap in the mud. Sun's going down. Wait for first light. Knox, catch. Bess drops a heavy tactical bag over the wall. I know the military doesn't take from civilians. We don't have much anyway, just crops. But the rules are dead. You can't march on an empty stomach. Knox catches it, offers a silent salute, and turns down the mountain. We don't invite him in. He doesn't ask. The apocalypse taught us a brutal lesson. Trust is a liability. We retreat inside. His intel paints a bleak picture. The outpost falling means the military is stretched to the breaking point. Survivors scattering, no vaccine. Dead comms. If industries halt for a year, maybe two, humanity scrapes by. But a decade? No one knows if this nightmare has an expiration date. That night, Knox's words echo in my skull. Mount D is a natural fortress. It trapped the infected, created the hive. What's gestating in there? An alpha? Scientifically, the infected are dead flesh. But my observations show zero signs of decomposition. I remember the first 3 infected we encountered. Winter slowed the rot. Come spring, they had withered and collapsed. But the horde they brought with them? Different. They survived the summer heat with minimal decay. Winter barely slowed them down. It defies biology. Is it tied to the Nova virus leak? Next morning, Knox is back at the gate. The grime is gone, wounds dressed. He's striking. Not Hollywood pretty, but rugged, chiseled, unyielding. He doesn't come empty-handed. He holds the bag Bess gave him, now packed with freshly foraged, rain-slicked walnuts. The rain is a drizzle now. Knox, I called down from the wall. You said if we don't clear the hive, it spills over. Are we looking at an alpha mutation? Silence stretches between us. Finally, he speaks. It's a probability. We wouldn't have known if we hadn't deployed. The infected, they've changed. They aren't rotting. It violates the natural order. The Nova leak from the States, I say. Knox looks up, genuinely stunned. You're well informed. Before the grid went dark, I lock eyes with him. I caught a dying live stream. Some foreign researcher, running for his life, screaming about the Nova leak from Ace Lab. Biology professor, I think. Knox sighs, dropping the veil. It was Ace Lab. The virus massively extends the host's cellular lifespan. It's mutated multiple times into what you see now. Near zero decay, a headshot is the only termination method. The alpha is a working theory, but it's a ticking clock. I figured. I say. But a grunt wouldn't know the classified details. Lieutenant Colonel Knox, Unit 38. Pleasure. Jin, former editor. Pleasure. He heads back down, carrying a massive container of food best prepared. Enough calories to keep a man fighting for days. He left the walnuts. Fair trade. That evening the rain stops. Bess is in the kitchen, baking hardtack for Knox's trek. It's a heavy, dense survival ration made from fresh cornmeal. She steams bacon and packs dried persimmons. It feels like prepping a kid for a hike, not sending a soldier back into a war zone. Thane pulls a tarp off a bike. A drifter. Stripped down, heavy tread tires, utility rack on the back. Bought this before your mother and I got married, he says, tracing the handlebars. Used to take her cruising. Bess smiles. A ghost of a simpler time. The tank is topped off. Extra jerry cans strapped down. Rations and water go into a tactical pack. Meds? I ask. Packed, Bess says. Threw in coagulants, just in case. Under the cover of darkness, we wheel the drifter and the gear outside the gates. I can't sleep. I climb to the 3rd floor, dragging out a custom-forged scrap suit. Heavy plates, salvaged steel. I grab a reinforced machete and a steel pipe, hauling it all out into the dark. As I shut the gate, Knox is there. Silence hangs heavy until the locks click into place. Dawn breaks. We stand on the wall. The rising sun hits his uniform, casting a harsh, heroic silhouette. Knox, I point down. Take the drifter. It's modified, runs quiet. Put on the scrap suit. It was built for cosplay, but it's solid metal. It'll deflect a bite. He doesn't move. The backlight hides his eyes. Then, without a word, he straps on the armor, hoists the pack, sheathes the machete and pipe. When he looks up, he resembles a medieval warlord mounting a mechanical steed. Knox. Thane points to the tree line. See those 3 trees? Follow the slope down to the ravine. Take a right, hit the stone steps, and you'll find a dirt trail. It leads to the front range. The rest is on you. Knox delivers a sharp salute. He revs the drifter and rolls out. Knox! I shout. He brakes, looking back. Survive! I toss a pair of tactical goggles over the wall. He snatches them from the air, salutes once more, and disappears down the mountain. He doesn't look back. Knox is gone. The routine swallows us again. Before the snow hits, we forage, chop wood, and fortify the barricades. His warning about the hive haunts us. Looking at the satellite maps, our terrain is a bottleneck. A perfect choke point. Autumn vanishes. The first snow falls. The mountain road is a labyrinth of steel and wood. 5 steps, barricade. 10 steps, spike trap. It's a fortress. We couldn't leave easily even if we wanted to. Survival triggers terrifying human potential. Winter locks us in. I fly the drone, monitoring the frozen infected wandering the perimeter. It's New Year's Eve. Year 1 of the apocalypse. Mom, look, I say, holding up my prize. What is it? Eggs. The chickens survived in the back mountain. They're breeding. I snagged these with the drone's claw. We had run out of eggs 6 months ago. Good. Bess smiles. Jin, take some cracked corn. Feed them. We can't let them freeze. My new winter mission, drone dropping feed. They learn to follow the machine. By spring, I herd the flock down to the lower pens. Secure, fed, producing. A year passes. I'm feeding the flock when I spot them, a dozen heavily armed figures outside our gate. I freeze, ready to run. Jin, it's Knox. The voice grounds me. Camouflage uniforms. I sprint up to the safe house, lock the gates, and climb the wall. It's a mirror of our first meeting, but now he has a firing squad at his back. The tension is suffocating. Someone snorts, breaking the silence. Fall back and set up camp. Knox orders his men. Sir. Yes, sir. The squad moves out. Knox and I hold eye contact. You here to burn the hive, Knox? Soon. Knox replies. Research on the Nova pathogen broke new ground. The meteorites emit rads. The radiation decays, but right now, it's forcing the infected to mutate. Increased speed, heightened aggression. We're sweeping the grid, extracting the meteor fragments for controlled demolition. Cuts off their evolutionary catalyst. You're isolated here, so you're relatively safe. Stay inside. When it's clear, I'll come back. I don't ask about the crumbling world. I give him tactical intel. Tourists found meteor fragments at the peak. Probably more than one. Knox nods. Acknowledged. They camp at the base. Bess loads Knox up with supplies, including a basket of fresh eggs. We pull an all-nighter, steaming a mountain of meat buns. If they're marching into hell, they're eating well. By dawn, we leave the steaming baskets outside the gate. We find a pile of scavenged walnuts in return. The squad approaches for a final send-off. We wave from the wall. Bess tells them to eat while it's hot. Some of the hardened soldiers have tears in their eyes. A young recruit quietly sobs. We haul out the remaining custom scrap suits we forged. Knox orders his men to accept them. As they gear up, Knox looks up at me. Wait for me. His eyes hold a weight I can't fully decipher. Knox. I drop a pouch of hard candies over the wall. Survive. They march toward the mountain. 4 months pass. Winter approaches. Knox appears at the gate, alone. Command is leveling the peak in 1 month, he says breathlessly. Don't panic when the ground shakes. Sweepers will move in after. They might build a staging camp here. He leaves his military dog tags and a secure comms device in my hand. He vanishes back into the wild. A month later, we eat hot pot and watch a movie as the horizon explodes. The distant thunder of bombs brings a strange, absolute peace. Year 3. The government establishes Base D at Mount D. Our village falls inside the secure perimeter. The barricades are cleared. Strangers walk the lot again. The new commander isn't Knox, but he leaves us be. We donate 2 years' worth of stockpiled crops and receive high-tier commendations. Some scavengers eye our fortress, but one look at Knox's dog tags hanging by the door, and they back off. Year 5. The vaccine hits the front lines. Humanity goes on the offensive. I enlist in the Seekers Rear Guard Division. Thane and Bess take logistical jobs at the base. My first kill, my hands shake violently. By the 100th, my blood runs cold. I become a captain, running a lethal unorthodox squad. I cross paths with Colonel Knox a few times. He's always moving, always fighting. Every goodbye ends the same way. Survive. And a salute. Year 8. The final horde is purged on a Pacific island. The Nova Protocol stands down. We return to a city that feels like a ghost of our past. We begin the reconstruction. I am 35. We donate 90% of our horde to the state. Between the donations and my combat merits as a seeker, the government assigns us 2 newly constructed homes. Prime sector, spacious, private gardens. The Earth's population is decimated. 1/10 remains. Our nation boasts the highest survival rate, though we lost 4/5 of our people. I was a keyboard jockey before the world ended. Now I can farm, operate heavy machinery, and rebuild combustion engines. I reunite with Blair. She survived. Her grandfather passed, but her parents and brother made it. Her father is back in real estate. He actually built our new sector. I say goodbye to Blair and find Knox waiting for me. Jin, I love you. Marry me. Knox, I'm 35. I'm 39. If you can handle an old, blunt soldier, take me. I don't have much to offer, just some military merits, but I won't let you suffer. He drops to one knee. No diamond, no roses. Just the combat medal he ripped from his chest and the faded wrapper of the candy I gave him years ago. All right, I say, taking the medal. At least you brought candy. I pull him to his feet. Who needs a diamond when a war medal suits me so much better? 2 years later, we marry. We stand surrounded by the surviving fragments of our family and friends. Looking at the faces around us, I know we'll be all right. Just like this shattered world. It's gonna get better.